in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, who day we ignite in Cincinnati, we gon' rise in the jungle we unite in dripping orange and black and white. Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Wake up the beast, every game day is a feast. Time to bust it off the leash. In the jungle dripping heat, tigers strike the city streets. East side stand up, west side stand up. If you reppin' who day, time to put your hands up. Bengals stripes, we in it. New day, new age, yeah, we get it. Cincinnati jungle fitted. Who day in our house, we win it. Orange and black and white, we build it. Earn our stripes, you know we kill it. Bleed our colors, jungle dripping. Nasty, natty, yeah, we lit it. Lit the crowd, hit the city loud. Yeah, we feasting now. Fit the bounce, make the city howl. Now we reaching out. Thunder through the tunnel, from the sideline to the huddle. Stripes be tatted on the jungle when we flex that who they muscle on them. Stripes, Cincinnati, we gon' rise in the jungle we unite in dripping orange and black and white. Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who gotta move like an on? Now who wanna move closing on? Now who wanna move on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock 'em, yeah we got 'em, yeah we fought 'em. Like that black and orange up on 'em, bingo bottle, never stop it till the beast.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, the Iceman, Jeff Trunapole. And as always, I bring you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of the back-to-back AFC North champion Cincinnati Bengals. Now, do me a favor, if you found the show, hit that like and subscribe button. Smash that thumbs up. You guys are awesome. I'm holding steady. I'm at 2,108 subscribers. So, like I always say, if you're watching on Facebook or Twitter and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, why not? Please do so. Please go to the YouTube channel Sports with Strawberry Ice. Hit the subscription button, hit the bell for the notification, and every time I go live, you'll be notified. That's why you got to keep up with me on Twitter and Facebook. Also, I told you I was going a half hour earlier today because I got something going on and got to get out of here by 6. So, Centauri is supposed to be joining me on the show. I talked to him, said we come at 5 o'clock. He's not in the waiting room right now. So, I'm hoping, Centauri, if you're listening, you will get in the waiting room so we can do this show. Anyway, YouTube chat crew, we're doing super chats. If you guys got something you want to ask me or ask Centauri, which hopefully he's going to be on the show, or you just want to support the show, I would greatly appreciate it. Just give me a super chat. That would be wonderful. And as always, I'm coming to you live from the Ice Cave. And the Ice Cave is brought to you by T Properties. T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out the website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. And as always, you know we got it. We have the best quarterback in the league. His name is Jackpot Joey Burrow. So if you want any of the gear, the flags, the hats, any of the cool hoodies, any of that stuff we have, please go to jackpotjoey9.com. Remember, portions of every purchase goes to the Joe Burrow Hunger Relief Fund. So we have some cool stuff here. These are some of the cool hoodies that we had up there for the AFC champions. So new stuff. We got some more stuff up there on the website. It's really easy to go check it out there. So make sure you go check out jackpotjoey9.com. Also go check out the beer right over my shoulder here. Brink Brewery, Jackpot Joey award-winning beer. Now, supplies are limited, so you might have a hard time finding it here right now, but go buy it before it's gone. It's coming back again, probably later on the summer. Definitely my football season next year, so make sure you go check that out. It's not only delicious, but it's also award-winning. Also, as you know, sports gambling is legal, because apparently I said illegal yesterday. That's what Dale said, but sports gambling is legal in Ohio. So if you have not signed up for Betfred Sports, why not? They're trying to give you money away. Go there. Go sign up. Make sure you bet on the Bengals to win the Super Bowl next year. You got a whole bunch of cool prop bets and everything with the Super Bowl going on this year. I'm betting on the Bengals being in Vegas next year. So we'll see. All right, still trying to find out where the hell Centauri is at. He is not in the waiting room. He's not answering me. So I don't know what's going on. Let's see here. All right, so have you guys watched NFL Network, which I know it's hard right now because it's all about Super Bowl coverage. But Jamar Chase was on there. And they asked him about Jackpot Joey contract. It's coming up. They got to sign him, yada, yada, yada. Basically, is he going to take the big bag? And what Jamar says basically is Joe, and not so many words, is, in his opinion, going to leave money for the rest of them, is what it sounded like in Jamar's opinion. Now, we'll see what happens. But that's what I've been saying this whole time. I don't necessarily mean that he's going to take a Tom Brady contract. He might do something close to what Patrick Mahomes did, because at first, when that contract came out, I thought that it was a bad move for the Chiefs. I thought they paid a whole bunch of money to Patrick, which they did. But the way they structured it, I think has worked out pretty well for them. So that is the first thing that I keep saying. They've got to get Joe's contract under control, find out what's going on there, how much money they got, and then they can figure out the rest of it. So anyway, what's up to everybody in the chat crew? Stranger, you were first. Nicholas, Ken, what's up, man? Kevin, what's going on? Ken, where is everybody? Well, I went a half hour earlier, so that's why nobody's in the chat right now. People don't pay attention to me on Twitter as much as they should. Okay, who do you want to see the Bengals use on their number one pick? I would like either Michael Mayer, or as of right now, it might change, or one of the tackles. The kid from, I wrote him down yesterday. Hold on a second. Let me see it. The kid from Tennessee. Let's see. Darnell Wright, who Joe Goodberry has pretty much sold me on, and DeJuan Jones from Ohio State. That would be nice to get one of those guys. One of those guys for Michael Mayer would be a legit game-changing tight end. If you get him, and Hayden Hurst would be awesome. If you get one of those guys at right tackle, that solidifies your right tackle position. Because I think if they do that, I think there's a good chance that I think they might double down on the offensive line. But there's a feeling that L might not be here. That might release him to save some money, along with Joe Mixon. We'll find out. I don't know, but that's where I think they're going to do. That's what I think they're going to do. But like I said, Hoss, what's up? It's February. We got a long ways to go. Kevin, what's going on? Yeah, he said, hi, Satori. Satori's not here. I don't know where he's at. Oh, my goodness. My crazy cousin Alan is here. What's up, Alan? How are you? So he's in Florida. At least I think he's in Florida. This man, every time I talk to him, I'll talk to him every couple months, and he's somewhere in the country. It doesn't necessarily matter where he's at in the country. He's just somewhere. So if you guys see a really tall, loudmouth guy who has hair who just doesn't move, he just put like this and just poof. It's perfect all the time. That's my cousin Alan. I call him Crazy Alan. So go say hi to him. All right, Ken, you say $50 million 10-year deal for $500 million 10-year. That's fine. Yeah, I just got to make sure that $50 million per year. I just, if they do that, to me, that's going to screw up the salary cap for everybody else. This is where I wish Centauri was here, because he's way better at this than I am. And Alan says he won't take $50 million. That's kind of where I think $50 million is too high. I don't think he's going to do that. That's my opinion. I think he's going to take less. I mean, he's going to get paid. Look, like Jamar Chase already said on NFL Network that that Joe's already got a ton of money. That Joe already has a good amount of money. So, hold on. I'm gonna text Satori here. Hey, I'm live on the show right now, and everybody's waiting for you to jump on. So, are you? Because I don't know where he's at. So, that's where these guys, my opinion, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, I know we've said this before about them, they are wired different. Yes, they want money. Of course they do. But they also want to win. They want to leave a legacy here in Cincinnati of multiple Lombardis, and they know they can't do it by themselves. I think T's the same way. Now, the problem I have with T, and not necessarily T, it's his agent. I don't trust him, because I think his agent has done a bad job with Jesse Bates. All right, let's see here. Let's get back to. All right, natural. The Bengals can afford to keep T and Chase. I think they can, especially if they all are willing to work together and get these contracts figured out. So, Ken said the only thing I'm concerned about Darnell is his weight. Yeah, kind of big. There's always concerns with somebody. We always, either way, concerns with Jackson Carman. And I'm really hoping what we saw from Jackson in the game in Buffalo, the divisional game, and the AFC Championship game is the springboard for him moving forward. I still think Jonah Williams is going to be our starting left tackle. Now, hear me out. If Jackson is improving upon what he has now, we only have Jonah for one more year. And Jonah didn't play awesome. He hasn't played up to the potential we all want him to. But he actually played better than La'el Collins did all year if you look at PFF grades. So that's where having Jackson Carman develop even more and get even better helps, because Jackson Carman could be your first guy off the bench. So that's where I'm like, I don't want to get rid of Jonah. We need depth. Let's keep, if Jonah's healthy, keep him at left tackle. Go get a right tackle. Maybe you keep La'el, and if he's not ready, you put him on the PUP list at the beginning of the year, which I really think there's a good chance that could happen. You keep him on the PUP list, whatever your rookie tackle is, or if you have Jackson Carman at right tackle or whatever you do, you see how it goes. And then you have La'el, who I wouldn't rush back, and then if he's healthy, then you have him compete during the season for the right tackle. I mean, the thing is, if you have these guys at depth pieces, I think that's a good thing. Let's see. Greg, what do you got here? When it comes to paying millions of dollars, you pay so much back taxes. How much do you really need once you're over 50? Yeah, that is true, Greg. Exactly. Because I listen to two bros and a couple of Joe sometimes in the morning on Fox Sports Radio, and but Brady Quinn was saying, yeah, if you make so much money, billion, this guy making him a billionaire. Well, he goes, well, you got to take into factor that the government's probably going to take like half of that. So it's hard to hear. Michael, I agree with you. I am tired of hearing the T trade talks. They are not trading T. It's not happening. We'll see. Ken, what is this? It's not Darno, weight 350 pounds. I don't know offhand. I'd have to look that up. Jeff, what do the Bengals do about Jonah? I kind of just talked about that, where I think they're going to keep him. They signed him through his 5th-year option, so you can't cut him. It's too big of a salary cap to cut him. So we'll see what they do. I think he's your left tackle. Personally, that's where I think he's your left tackle. I think your interior line is pretty solid. I know people are, I won't say down on Volson, but if there's somebody in the 2nd round, 3rd round, 4th round that you could pick a guard to maybe push Volson, I'm all for that, because I do think we need to improve the depth of the offensive line. Because like I said on here a couple times, give me an NFL team who loses 3 starting offensive linemen and doesn't skip a beat. I mean, and pretty much the Bengals did, except for the last game. So, the guys we have there right now are good. You can always improve them. So that's where I'm at. Brandon, what is up? Who day? What's going on? Ken, either way it goes, it would screw the cap up. Not necessarily. That's not necessarily true. I think you're talking about Joe's contract. That's not necessarily true. We are 3rd or 4th in cap space. You can structure it. I mean, look how much money the Chiefs are paying Patrick Mahomes. Now, the difference is Tyreek Hill wanted his money. Now, the thing is, and now look, if Jamar or T or Joe or one of those 3 says, screw it, I want as much money as I can get, then yes, that screws it all up. They have to be willing to work with this. So I think it's low in 40 million. It might be 45 million, somewhere around there. Just, I suck at numbers. This is why, again, Centauri, I was hoping he would come on the show. He is way better at this than I am. So I'm just going to call him live on air because, I'm just curious what's going on here, because he was supposed to come on and he hasn't yet. So if I get it to ring, because my internet is not working out too good. Here it's ringing. Let's see. Calling Centauri live on the air. Hello? Hello? It's not ringing. Do you hear anything ringing? No. I'm going to try it one more time. He answered me twice, before the show started. That's actually all right. Let's see here. I know this is live. This is great live radio. Or this ain't radio, it's TV.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing? I'm on the show already.
I fell asleep. I'll be on in a second.
Okay. Thanks, bye.
Sorry.
All right, woke him up. He is coming on the show. All right, there we go. So I was texting. I'm like, where the heck at? All right, so he will be coming here. Okay. Now, why? Ken here says, now why wouldn't Burrow take less than Cleveland's quarterback? Well, because, like I said, Ken, me personally, and what Jamar Chase just said on NFL Network, Joe knows what he has, and he doesn't. And even Jamar says he's already rich, which he is. These guys are already rich. These guys are wired different, just from stuff they've said. I mean, Jamar Chase is one of Joe's best friends. If Jamar thinks he's going to take less money, which he didn't say less money, but the way he put it, it would be enough money to sign Chase. I think he's going to. And Deshaun Watson is an asshole. He doesn't give a crap about the Cleveland Browns. He doesn't give a crap about anybody. He just wants the money. So you're comparing Joe Burrow to Deshaun Watson is not a very good comparison, Ken. So, Greg, the fear is not signing Burrow. It's keeping the cast around. Yes, exactly. But you have to get keep the cast around starts with Joe's contract. And that's where we all have to try to figure out or wait and see what he does. Ken, I'll go with you again. Bengals Nation, the reality is Watson deal. Cleveland gave him $239 billion. All the guarantee has screwed the pooch. Yes, but Ken, nobody's given that out. Yes, we know that screwed the pooch. Look at Baltimore. Baltimore does not want to give fully guaranteed money to Lamar Jackson. The Bengals do not want to give fully guaranteed money to Joe Burrow. Yes, the Browns screwed everything up, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's what everybody else has to do. So again, you're taking one stupid, crummy run organization who did a just absolutely mind-bogglingly stupid thing, signed a guy who couldn't even play for the first half of the season because he had all these allegations against him. At first, the guy didn't even want to come to Cleveland. He wanted to go to Atlanta. He didn't want until Cleveland said, all right, we'll guarantee you all this money. Then he's like, all right, I'll come. Their stupid thing doesn't mean the rest of the NFL is going to do a stupid act just like they did. The Browns are dumb. They have screwed themselves royally with this contract. And Deshaun Watson better play like the best quarterback in the history of the NFL, which I don't think he's going to. I used to be a Deshaun Watson fan. I liked him at Clemson. I thought he was a good quarterback coming out. I never thought he was like, and oh my God, he should be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. The Browns were desperate. The Browns were stupid. They were just flat dumb for what they did and signing Deshaun Watson. So yes, it's guaranteed money. That's where Lamar Jackson's stuck. I don't think that's where Joe is. Just if you read the tea leaves of what Joe has said, what Jamar Chase just said on NFL Network. So I know you keep saying that. You keep saying the same stuff that we got to do these things. And I don't think you're exactly reading the tea leaves of what's going on. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I am, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll have to see, Ken. You keep saying all this stuff, but none of them have said that. None of them. Joe has said he wants to be here his entire career. Joe has said he wants Jamar here his entire career. Joe has said he wants Zach here his entire career. He can't have, Zach doesn't really matter, but he can't have Jamar all his time if he wants to be a billionaire. These are things that Joe has come out of his mouth and said that he wants to be here. This is why I don't think, you keep saying this, and this is what, I wish you'd listen to what I'm saying. I love you. I don't think he's going to be the highest. He could be the highest, but I don't think he's going to be a first billionaire, and I don't think he's going to have to guarantee everything. He's going to structure it so we can sign other people. Jamar Chase just freaking said it on the NFL Network about an hour ago, okay? This Jamar Chase is one of his best friends. Okay. Let's get to somebody else out here waiting for Centauri to jump on. Let's see. Greg, Lamar thing being $100 million apart from the Ravens management, some players, it's all about the money. Right, exactly. And Lamar is all about the money. And look, I think the relationship is beyond repair, my opinion, with the Ratbirds. And I'll tell you this. If Baltimore trades him to Atlanta, which is where it sounds like Lamar wants to go. Atlanta wants to do it. They got the money to do it, which would screw my boy. Oh my goodness, the quarterback for the Bearcats. Why can't I think of his name? I hate when I can't think. Anyway, would screw him because he's the starting quarterback. There's a very good chance that he could go to Atlanta. If that happens, and Lamar Jackson leaves the AFC North, dude, we are going to own this thing. All right, he is awakened from his slumber. He is the man with all the knowledge about the numbers. So when you ask all these questions about the numbers and I just guess, Centauri actually knows what he's talking about. Let's get to Centauri. What's up, Sleeping Beauty?
I'm awake.
I was like, I was texting you like, I said you're like, where you at? Show's starting. I got 30 seconds. Crap, I'm just gonna call him on the air. All right, so my boy Ken here is blowing it up, saying Joe Burrow is going to be the first $1 billion quarterback. Jamar Chase just came on the NFL Network about an hour ago and said that Joe's going to get his money. Basically, it's not verbatim. Joe's going to get his money, but he thinks he's going to have enough to keep his weapons. Is basically what Jamar said. Where are you at on the Joe Burrow contract? I mean, yes, he can be the highest paid player, but personally, I don't think he's going to be. I mean, I think he's going to structure. What do you got?
It depends how the structure of the contract's written. He can very well be the highest paid player in the history of the NFL and still have money for everybody else.
Okay.
We need to talk about how signing bonuses work and roster bonuses work. Yeah, the cap hit's going to be there, but it's a matter of how it's structured and how it's divvied up.
Okay.
Everybody always hears the $500 million number, and that kind of freaks people out. That number is going to be what it is. That's the going rate. It's about $50 to $55 million a year. But the way that you slice and dice that is going to be more important than the actual number itself.
All right. So, like Keith here says, cash over cap.
Right.
Okay. What does that mean?
So more or less, that's cash liquidation.
Upfront money, meaning like signing bonuses.
Right. So the big thing you always hear, kind of jokingly in tongue in cheek from bitter fans, is that the salary cap is a myth. Yes and no. It's easily manipulated, right? Okay. And what I mean by that is, let's say you like what the Rams did, right? Last year, where it seemed like they just had infinite money. They were still within the confines of the salary cap. Woo! I'm all kinds of
you're blue.
Yeah. All right. That one works better. What that means is, let's say you have a guy that signs for $100 million. Okay. Right. And it's a 4-year contract. Right away, everybody goes, okay, 25 a year. That's $25 million hit. No, it's not how that's going to work. Let's say he has a $25 million signing bonus. Mm-hmm. We'll make it easy. Let's say it's 20, just for all the mathletes out there.
That's not me.
Yeah, $20 million signing bonus.
Okay.
You're allowed to prorate that, and most of the time they are. So that $20 million is going to be shelled out day one immediately, right? That's where we talk about cash. Mm-hmm. Woo! Sorry.
You're having all kinds of problems.
I know. I'm a hot mess today. So that $20 million gets prorated over the length of that 4-year contract, coming out to $5 million a year. Okay. So right away, you're guaranteed to have a $5 million cap hit. So now you have $80 million left. That can be roster bonuses. That can be workout bonuses. That can be salary. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll do lower salaries. And then they'll put stuff in like a $10 million roster bonus, so on and so forth, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't really matter too much in this instance. But what ends up happening is you have that $80 million spread out over 4 years. Well, let's say that first year he's only got a $2 million salary, a $2 million roster bonus, and a $2 million workout bonus, right? That's 6. So if you've got $6 million through incentives and salary, and then a $5 million signing bonus that's been prorated, you're at $11 million cap hit on a $100 million player. And then the other stuff, it gets backloaded. So when you talk about front loading and backloading, that's how it is. Okay. So let's extrapolate that contract by about 5 times for Joe, right? Let's say it's a $50 million signing bonus. Okay. Well, if they've got $50 million cash that they can just day one,
Mhm.
well, that's going to get prorated over the 10 years of his contract, assuming
Okay.
we're getting a 10-year deal. Well, that's a $5 million cap hit. Okay. Now you've got another $450 million to worry about over 10 years. Well, that's an average of 45 a year. If the last year is going to be about 60, that means that first year is probably going to be about 30. So his cap hit the first year is $30 million or
Okay.
35 million if you take that signing bonus into consideration. And that's how the cash gets spread out and then the salary gets backloaded to
Okay.
make initially, right? So when we talk about, oh my God, Burrow's going to cost us $50 million a year, he will probably 4 or 5 years into it. The
Okay.
first couple of years, it's going to be closer to 30 or 40. So when you look at cap hits, yeah, it's going to be a very manageable cap hit for about 4 or 5 years, and you're not going to have to worry about it too much. You won't have that Deshaun Watson $60 million boom
Yeah, they're
until
stupid.
you won't have that until about year 6,
Yeah,
right?
I was just going off on how dumb the Browns were for doing that.
Right. So the other way you can write this, and this is where we always say if Burrow takes less, right?
Mhm. Right.
Burrow wouldn't necessarily be taking less on 500 million. Maybe that signing bonus is 20 million instead of 50. And
Mhm.
now it's a $2 million a year cap hit, right? But the issue with that, not the issue, but the benefit, I should say, is now I have $30 million cash more for signing bonuses for my other guys. I
Right.
can manipulate the cap however I need to, how I can structure my contracts. I can restructure guys, re-sign guys, cut guys, whatever. It's going to come down to what the Bengals, if they have anything in escrow, which I would assume they do. I think they've been preparing for this for
Yeah,
quite some time.
that's why it's Pay Joe Stadium.
Right. That's why
And
it's
all the gates are named something now.
yeah, and they haven't had to pay a quarterback since Andy left, and they
Right.
really weren't paying Andy a king's ransom. It was a
Right.
pretty
He had
easy
a team
deal.
friendly deal. I mean, to
It
be honest.
was,
Yeah.
um, and they saved a bunch of money. So they haven't really been, and they haven't had massive signing bonuses since then. So my
So,
guess is they have quite a bit saved up.
all right. So my question is real quick. If Joe does what you're saying, is this more of along the lines of what Patrick Mahomes did for the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Mahomes and Josh Allen's kind of did a similar thing. Mahomes signing bonus, I think, was 18. Allen's was 16, or vice versa.
Okay.
And then if you look at like Dak Prescott, his was like 50. So, you know, there's contracts that are fully guaranteed. There's contracts with $60 million signing bonuses. There's contracts with $10 million signing bonuses. It depends how the Bengals want to structure it. It depends how Joe wants it structured. It depends what the agent and everybody comes to an agreement on. My guess is the Bengals have known this is coming for a while.
The day they
Um,
drafted him.
right. You don't draft a quarterback number one overall without the idea of we better start saving money for 3.5
Right.
years from now.
And just in Bengals franchise history, at one time, Boomer Esiason was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Carson Palmer was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. I mean, they've it's not like they haven't paid him.
Right. And here's the other thing. And I want to make sure I get this number right. So bear with me here while I'm searching it.
Very good.
But when we talk about cash and cap ratios, right?
Mhm.
The cash versus cap thing.
Right.
Teams, your cap's what, 224.2 next year. It was 108.2 this year. So it's gone up about $16 million. You're allowed to spend as much cash as you want as long
Mhm.
as you prorate it, because like I said, the prorated amount is what hits.
Mhm.
So if I sign 10 guys to $100 million signing bonuses, but each contract is 20 years, it's only a 20 or $40 million hit on my salary cap.
All right.
If you've got the cash, Jerry Jones, you can sign a lot of big guys, Los
Right.
Angeles. The
Mhm.
issue is once you start kicking the can down the road, at some
Right.
point you get bit. And I
That's
put
why they have
this
to be
in-
smart about it.
That's why you got to be smart, because you have a situation like not 2023, but 2024. Mike Thomas has a cap hit of almost $60 million as a receiver because they kept kicking it down the road and restructuring because the
Wow.
Saints are terrible with money. So you can't do that all the
So,
time.
all right. So, what's your thoughts on the Bengals as far as how they've they've been with money. I know everybody always says they're
Oh,
cheap.
excellent. No,
Yeah,
they're not
that's where
cheap.
I think they've been pretty good with money, to be honest. And
They're one of the top 5 cash spenders in the NFL over the last 10 years, and they're not anywhere in debt. Like they don't have the situation where it's like, oh my God, we got to cut and restructure and cut and
right,
restructure. They're in a situation where they can keep all their guys that they really want to.
right.
Um,
That's why
they
they didn't pay Jesse Bates. I
right.
mean,
They haven't
that's
burned themselves
mhm.
to keep they haven't overpaid. They've been very smart and they've spent just as much cash, if not more, than anybody else in the NFL. So and they're spending cash way above their market, which means
So
they save well and then they spend big when they have to.
So does this include when you say they can sign their guys? Does this include Jesse Bates? I think he's off the table, but does this include signing Pratt? Because Joe Goodberry has kind of said he's fearful that they will sign Pratt and Mixon and have those two as high salary cap hits or just high players in the salary cap structure that championship teams don't do, and the Bengals have fallen on that trap before. What's your thoughts on that?
So Pratt, it's going to depend on the market value. My initial thoughts with Pratt is that he would be paid as a top 5 linebacker, considering what he's done over the last 2 years, the turnovers he creates, and the fact that he's the number 1 rated pass covering linebacker in a passing league.
Mm-hmm.
Incredibly rare, incredibly hard to come by. And he's always healthy. He doesn't miss time. He's pretty consistent at this point, creates turnovers, and you can't throw against him. I mean, that's a pain in the ass to deal with as an offensive coordinator and a quarterback. The market value on someone like that should be about $20 million a year. That would be a hard no for me.
That's where I'm at. To me, that's why I think a team Davis Gaither and his development has been so big. That's where I think, in the past, what scares me, I was listening to Locked On Bengals last night at work, which scares me with Goodberry and Jake were saying is, remember the 2015 team, and then that's when Whitworth left and Sanu left and Marvin Jones left, and we had nobody behind them. Well, with Pratt and Bates, we have people behind them. Will they be as good as them? At first, maybe not, but they eventually could. There are people in place are ready for them. So that's where I think the Bengals are doing a little better job of preparing for players that they're not willing to spend that much money on.
Right, I agree with that. The issue is with Pratt, though. I don't know what the market is really going to yield for him because, like I said, there's a lot of things that would tell me he's a $20 million linebacker. And then there's a group of people that do this for a living that project contracts that are a lot better at it than I am. And they've got him at $8.5 million a year, which would, you cut Mixon, sign Pratt. If you cut Mixon and sign Pratt, you still save $2 million, and I keep my linebacker, and I don't have to worry about paying for my other running back room. The big issue is, and Joe's right, running backs are vastly overpaid in this market, especially when you look at EPA and how much they contribute to actually scoring points on a game-to-game basis. Linebackers are the running backs of defense. You don't necessarily need them, but the Bengals and I think the fan base have also seen what it's like when you've got really, really shitty linebackers.
Yeah, we know.
But the other thing is you're a little bit spoiled right now. You've got a luxury of riches right now at linebacker with Pratt and Logan Wilson. So you can pick one.
Right. They're probably gonna have to.
I would not sign both. I would pick one. I still don't know which one I would necessarily pick. But if I have Mixon, Wilson, and Pratt to pay, Mixon is the first man out, and then I would pick one linebacker. All three of them are not going to get paid. 2 of them should not get paid. If you look at the way championship teams are built and the way that they allocate their funds and their spending, linebacker and running back are not positions that championship teams tend to spend money on.
All right. So are you I think we're in agreement on Mixon. I with you. I think they cut him or restructure him, one of the two. What about LC? Because to me, if
he's dirt cheap.
He's dirt cheap. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't worry about him.
Because I know Tony Pike and Austin Elmore brought this up. If you cut L and you cut Mixon, that frees up like $13 or $16 million, they said. That could go toward another right tackle that you could sign or draft.
So I always like to look at production per dollar, and
Mhm.
then I always like to look at what my guy's making versus league average, right? And I had put this out there on Twitter a couple days ago. Let me see if I can find the exact number. But comparatively speaking, La'el Collins is one of the cheapest starting right tackles in the NFL. I know he didn't perform well last year, but new system and bad injury management, I think, go into that. Starting here's the thing: the highest paid right tackle in football last year, or going into this season, I should say, makes $25 million a year.
Okay.
Okay, the average of the top 5 starting right tackles are $22 million a year. La'el Collins' cap hit next year is $7 million, or it's 9
hmm
rather, and he's got $3 million dead money. He is in the bottom of the barrel of starting right tackles in terms of what you're actually paying him.
hmm
And if you're going to draft someone in the first round, that cap hit's going to be just as high.
hmm
Um, you're not going to save money in the long run
So
by
would
cutting
you?
Lyle Collins.
All right. So would you? Because I'm kind of hoping to draft one. If would you draft a right tackle and still keep Lel? Because Lel's probably not going to be ready at the beginning of the season, most likely. What's your thought process on there?
I wouldn't be signing anyone in free
No,
agency for
no,
sure.
that draft somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll get there.
All
I
right. Sorry.
wouldn't be signing anybody in free agency for sure, just because there's so much money on the tackle position, whether that's right or left tackle. There's almost not. I mean, there is still a huge difference, but the way modern offenses are evolving, there's not really a blind side tackle anymore. It's
Mhm.
just strictly left and right tackle.
Right.
The NFL still tends to value left tackles a lot more than right. But to get a solid, the top dollar right tackle, the Bengals would have to spend north of $15 million.
Mhm.
They're not going to do that next year. They're
Right.
going to have too much money on the books with Joe and Jamar and T and everybody getting ready to go.
That's how they're going to
So,
try and draft one.
so that's the other thing. If you draft one and it's the first round, that's a massive signing bonus. So you got to be careful there. Um, if they draft a starting right tackle, Lael's probably going to get cut
Mhm.
or asked to restructure.
Mhm.
You can't keep him and a first round right tackle. If they get one in the second round and the signing bonuses are lower and the guy's only making 600,000 or 900,000, whatever that second year rookie contract is, or second round rookie contract,
Mhm.
you might be able to stomach keeping him.
Okay.
But it's going to depend on how the draft goes. Because I'm not about to cut him right now. No, I'm not going to sign anybody in free agency and then put myself in a Drew Sample, Billy Price situation in the draft
Right.
and be completely screwed.
Yeah.
As much as everybody's off on La'el Collins right now, and justifiably so, he's got a great track record, and when he performs well, he performs very well.
And that's the
He
thing
is
is when the
he's not
offensive line
someone
was
that you just cast away
right.
because.
Well, and that's the thing when the offensive line was healthy, people forget they actually played pretty good together. I mean, he was one of the least pressured guys in the league when all 5 of them were on there. So it wasn't they're not dominating, but they played pretty good. And our offense was cooking. So, but can you answer a question here? Because Ken keeps asking this. He asked yesterday, and he's asking again today. And I keep telling him nobody's going to give you anything for this. But what's trade value of Joe Mixon?
Nothing.
That's what I keep saying.
And the issue is running backs, like we said, are undervalued or they're overvalued right now, or they're overutilized, they're mismanaged. I don't know how many times I have to say this on social media for people to finally start understanding it. It's been like a 5-year battle. Here's the deal. If Joe was borderline free, and what I mean by that, like a contract of like $3 to $4 million, you might be able to get a third round pick out of it, right? But I have to ask somebody to eat a $12 million or $12.8 million salary next year for a running back who is now allegedly being pursued by the police for assaulting people, whether that's verbal or not. And he already has a past rap sheet, so it's not a
And
good
he's getting
look.
older.
He's getting older. His production has declined each of the last 2 to 3 years. He's asked to be paid a lot of money. Would you trade for that?
No. Well,
No.
especially when and
And
this
here's the
draft
deal.
class
If
is
you
actually pretty
would
good
trade,
running
what
back.
would it be? A
Right.
6?
If they give me a 6th round pick for Mixon, I'm taking it, but I don't think they're going to.
Right. So
I don't think anybody will, because they'll just cut him and then you can just go sign him. Yeah.
right.
And the thing is, because this draft class, from what I'm reading, you starting to look at, is pretty good as far as running backs goes. So you can always get running backs. I mean, it's just not a valued position anymore. So
They're a dime a dozen.
yeah,
There
exactly.
were 15 running backs on rookie contracts that outrushed Mixon this year.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that in mind.
Right. All right. So let's get to my list here. Hang on a second. I got it written. Everybody. Yeah. Nope. This page. My bad. All right. So we went through Burrow. We went through Bates. All right. Von Bell. Where do you think?
Oh, really quick. Ken brought up a point in the chat where the charges were dropped on Mixon. They're temporarily dropped. The last line of that drop charges document said that they have new evidence and are going to reopen the investigation at a later date. That's still pending. He ain't out of the woods.
Okay.
Initially dropped. You're correct, but it's still open.
All right. So where are we at on Von Bell? Because personally think
bring him back.
Yeah, that's you can't let them both. You can't let him and Bates both go. So what is the value of Von Bell? He is older. He's still under 30. I thought he was in his 30s. He's not. He's like 27, I think.
28.
28. Yeah. Okay. So I still think he's very valuable to this team. And like I said, you can't lose both our safeties. What do you think it costs to bring Von Bell back?
Depending on what he could possibly get offered on the free agent market, the most I've seen is 10 a year. I don't think he's going to get that. I'd be happy anywhere around 8 personally. I think.
What do you think last year?
7, 6 or 7.
So he'll get like $1 million bump.
I might do the same contract, 3 years, 24. I think is what he got. I'd be happy with that. It's not going to bother me. Keep in mind the cap went up again, so if I give him the same deal, he got cheaper.
Well, now, would he want the same deal? You think, or he might want a little bit of a bump in pay just for his, because I think this is a career year in interceptions, right?
It's a career year in interceptions, but it was a little down in everything else.
Okay.
He didn't perform as well as he would have liked, and I think he'll be the first person to tell you that. Most athletes that are competitive would. He's not going to get a raise for what he did.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Malik's pretty solid. I think he'll be back.
Yeah. Malik says it. I believe it. He's more right than wrong.
I'd bring him back in a heartbeat. It's one of those things where, like Joe was talking about, and I didn't listen to what Joe was saying, but I think he'd probably agree with me. When you start looking about how you're slicing up funds for your championship team, it's okay to pay one safety. I would never pay 2. So I'm going to pay the cheaper of the 2, especially because the more expensive one has been very up and down. And that's not a slap in the face to Jesse at all. That's just what I can afford now. If I had the funds based on how the last 2 seasons ended, yeah, he played out of his mind for the last second half of the year and in the playoffs the last 2 years.
Right.
He did great. But at the same time, I don't have the money to do that anymore. The money was there to sign him when we weren't having to worry about a big signing bonus for Joe a year and a half ago. But that's come and gone, and he's still kind of been up and down.
All right, Natty says, what do you think the team what do you think Bates goes, and how high will the compensatory, I get it right, compensatory pick be? Jeez.
I will be 100% honest. I have no idea how that compensatory formula works. I've never really looked into it. And doesn't mean you'll necessarily get one if he leaves, because if we sign somebody else, then it levels out. You only get picks if someone leaves and you don't sign somebody. So I don't even know if you'll get one. If we're just going off the idea that he's leaving, we don't sign anybody, hypothetical, call to wash, whatever. I don't know. I mean, typically they're somewhere between the 3rd and the 6th round pick. I would say he's a high-end starter for most teams, depending on the money. I could see a 4. I don't know if you'll get at least a 3, but I could definitely see a 4. I think a 6 is way too low, and a 5 feels like robbery. So my guess, and I don't know how the formula works. This is just going off my gut. I would say a 4.
All right, so the chat's kind of blowing up about DBs. I've said this. I think they're going to go the 3 positions for the draft: we tight end, offensive line, and DBs. Where are you at? You think? I think you have to draft another DB because, like I said, I don't think Bates coming back. You got Cheeto coming back from knee injury. You don't know if they're going to sign Eli. is cornerback or DB. I was like saying DB. Is that something you go into? I think more of the second round because I think if you get offensive lineman first round, one of those big ones are there, or Michael Mayer's there, which I think would be a huge, huge if. I'm hoping Michael Mayer would be there, but I don't think that's actually going to happen. But DBs, where are you at on that in the draft, and just as far as the money goes?
I would definitely take a corner in the draft. It wouldn't be in the first round. I mean, if something, I always say that, but if somebody falls that you're 100% in love with, because I haven't really looked at all of these guys yet. If someone fall in, 28's a position where, if you've had a corner that you had a top 15 grade on and he's sitting there, then yeah, you take him. You're dumb not to.
We just want the Bengals to reach again. That's the thing. They're still in a position where you take the best player available on wherever you're drafting.
You should be in that position every single year.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't want to reach for a Billy Price. That's not where we're at.
You don't have to. There's no holes in this team.
Thank you.
There's upgradable spots, but there's no holes.
Yes. Yeah, Ken. That's what Ken's in the chat blowing up saying that Joe Burrow is running for his life all year. I don't know if you met all year, but I saw you comment on there, Ken. You said Joe is running for his life. The offensive line played good. Yes,
right, I'm gonna prove Ken wrong here. Ken might be a nice guy. I don't know him, but I'm tired of that entire narrative. So.
I know. That's what I like, dude. He's been doing this to me for 2 days. I'm like, oh my god, he hasn't been running for his life. He did last year, not this past year. Anyway, please do that. I would love. And Ken here wants to know. I love you, Ken. I do love you. I appreciate your show. Coach Lou is a finalist for the Cardinals job. Anyone get any updated information? Not yet. I've heard it's down to him and the Giants OC. I haven't heard anything else. And the other thing you asked is if we get a compensatory pick if we lose Lou. That does not count for coaches.
No, it doesn't. Can you share my screen really quick?
I sure can. There you go.
Okay, I know that's kind of hard to read, so I'll see if I can blow it up a little bit. I don't look at grades on Pro Football Focus because their grades are very subjective. What I do look at is I look at the data that they provide me. These are the amount of percentages and rates the quarterbacks were under pressure for the entirety of last year, postseason and regular season. The DB percentage, the column that I have sorted, is the amount of the percentage of your dropbacks that you had where you were considered under pressure last year. The third least pressured quarterback per dropback in the NFL last year was Joe Burrow. Least pressured in the AFC. 72.2% of the time he was kept clean. That's a very, very high rate.
He goes, if Burrow gets injured, I'll remember you. That's fine.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying he can't get injured. That can
I mean, you can get injured in practice. That doesn't mean anything.
But I understand what Ken sees because I am gun shy, and every time there is a free runner, it just immediately goes back to fuck. We got to get better, and they do. They're honestly about average because the other metric you can look at, and this is going to kind of go to, this will play into Ken's favor here. Is where is it at? It's over here somewhere.
Oh my God, Ken, you're driving me nuts, dude.
Your P2S percentage.
Yes, you're right, Ken. We lost the Super Bowl last year because of the O-line. It's not the same O-line as it was last year in the Super Bowl. We lost the AFC Championship because of the O-line this year. Yes, because we were missing 3 freaking starters. Good God, quit saying the same stuff that's not correct.
Okay. So the thing that's going to play into Ken's percentage, and I'll make him feel a little better here.
Okay, please do.
This is your P2S percentage. That's for your pressure to sack conversion rate. What percentage of your pressure turns into sacks? Joe's astronomically high, 22.9%. He doesn't get pressured much, but for whatever reason, when he does, it goes bad. That's
Joe
where
holds onto the ball probably too long, probably.
Well, probably. That's where the perception of the idea that he gets sacked a ton comes from, and that's where the perception of the idea that the line sucks comes from. He doesn't get pressured often, but when he does, it's bad. It's either lock solid or a horrific breakdown. There's no real in between.
You're not going to go a whole game without your quarterback getting pressured. That's not going to happen,
Yeah. I mean, these guys in the chat, they're right and wrong.
Oh my God. Yes, you're right. Start of the year, same deal. You are correct because we had 3 starting offensive linemen that were learning how to play together. Yes, Ken, you're right. But we won 10 games in a row and nobody touched Joe. Please stop I love you, Ken, but please stop saying the same stuff that you're not correct about. I'm like, you are with the sacks, yes, but him getting pressured, and that's the reason that we lost. It's just mind numbing, dude. I'm getting a headache. Anyway, so all right, let's get back to the list here. All right, so Jamar Chase, or excuse me, not Jamar, T Higgins.
Yeah.
All right, so what's your thoughts on where he's at? And to me personally, I would rather them be proactive after you get Joe done, go get T done, and not have to worry about trying to maybe bring in the franchise tag or anything like that next year. Where is T money wise? I mean, I know he could be astronomical, but you can still structure it right. Good, right?
Right. It depends on the issue with T is his contract is kind of be built around hypotheticals. What I mean by that is everybody always says that T's the number one receiver on another team. He probably is.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a fact. It's an assumption, and it's hypothetical. If he was on another team, would he be their number one? Probably, right?
Packers, Bears.
Right, we can go down the list. It doesn't matter. He probably is.
Yep.
The issue is, what's a number one cost? And are we considering him a top 30 receiver, or are we considering him a top 5? If you're considering him a top 5 receiver, he's going to get a $30 million or more a year contract.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm laughing at the chat.
I see it too.
Said, if you can stop injuries, let me know. Exactly, Ken. If you know how to stop injuries, brother, you can go work for the Bengals, man. You can go work in the NFL. All right, so go ahead.
But you're looking if they pay him as a top receiver, you're looking $30 to $35 million a year. That number doesn't scare me as much as what the signing bonus could be. So it depends. If Burrow takes less of a signing bonus, yeah, get T wrapped up. I will pay T what he wants because I do believe we have 2 number ones.
Because the signing bonus, both the just layman being dumb math guy here. Signing bonus, if you sign Joe and you sign T this year, the signing bonus hits this year.
Yes, all of it.
Okay, so that counts toward the cap this year. Yeah.
Well, yeah, a prorated version of it does.
Okay.
The issue is, let's say Joe takes a $50 million signing bonus and wide receivers traditionally get 25. You need to have $75 million liquidation right now. And that's before any free agents. That's before Pratt. That's before Von Bell. And that's before your draft. I don't know how much financial flexibility the Bengals have. The general public's not going to know that. That number does not have to be reported. That number does not come out of the Bengals. That number can come from anywhere.
Right.
If Bill Gates writes the Bengals a check for $200 million, that's fine, and they can use it. Cash liquidity is not
That'd be great.
Cash is not tracked in the NFL like the cap is. There's no limit to it. That's why you see teams like the Rams and the Cowboys, because Jerry Jones owns oil in Texas, can do whatever the hell he wants.
Right.
As long as you prorate that to get it to fit within the structure of the cap, you're fine. So that's why I'm like, look, you can recoup cash every single year just based on the team revenue, right? If Joe takes a bigger signing bonus, which he very well could, I would never blame him for that. It might take a year to recoup the funds, and that's why I say wait till next year to sign T.
Right.
I understand he could get a little bit more expensive, but here's the deal. He's one of 5 receivers in the history of the NFL to have like 3,200 yards or more in his first 3 years. He's not going to get any more expensive than he already is.
Good point.
So it just if I have the cash to do it, do it. If I have to wait a year, wait a year.
All right. So your opinion, if Joe takes a big salary salary cap bonus, then you're probably most likely trying to sign T next year. So you give him the big bonus next year.
Right. So what you can do is, and you've got some flexibility. I know people hate hearing this word, but if you exhaust your cash, right? Let's say you do, and it takes you a year to recoup it. It might take you 2 to recoup it. I don't know what kind of money they have, and nobody will. That's why I initially came out and said the tag isn't the worst idea because he's going to get paid that money anyway. And if he knows we're just doing this and you're getting your contract next year, just keep doing what you're doing. It's different than we're at a stalemate. I don't want to pay you and you have to play here, as opposed to we need more money. Give us 1 more year and you'll have it.
All right.
There's a difference in procedure and why we're using it. That's why I'm like, don't worry about T. You've got him for at least 2 more years. If they absolutely have to because they can't afford the cash signing bonus right away, you can tag him. That doesn't hurt your cash. It just goes.
Yeah, you just hope T is okay with it and doesn't tick him off.
If T knows they're actively working
Right.
on retaining cash, and that's why,
right,
it's a different story.
right.
It's
Which again, we won't know that, but that's
right. It's not like a Jesse Bates situation where the Bengals are like, we don't trust that you're good.
Yeah,
they
know T's good.
with Bates, it was, I might want to pay you the money. I'm not sure how good you are.
Right.
We might move on.
Right.
With T, it's, what do you want? I want 25. We want to pay you 25. Can I do it now? I want to do it now. Do you want to be here? I want to be here. We want you here. You want to be here. Everything's aligned except maybe cash liquidation.
Right.
So if T understands that my quarterback, who I really want to be with, just got a bag and they need to wait 12 months before they can give me my bag, I think there's a little bit more flexibility with the franchise tag.
Exactly. All right, Centauri. Well, I got to get off here at 6. That's why we started a half hour early. But I appreciate you coming on the show. We'll have to do this again. I love your insights because I have a lot of stuff jumping up in my brain. You do a better job of trying to explain it number-wise than I could ever do. So I appreciate you coming on. You guys got we got guests on Rally here tonight, tomorrow. When's your show?
No, we are down to 1 day a week in the off season, per my wife.
Busy.
Yeah. No, it's, I don't have to be on twice a week. The Reds aren't playing right now.
You're on twice a week anyway. You got your show, my show. You just come on Wednesdays.
Right.
Exactly.
So we dial it back. We'll probably start going twice a week again in July or August, but we'll be on Monday nights here until about midway through July or August. And
yeah, I'm the only crazy one that does it every day. That's
yeah,
why I bug the shit out of all my friends. Like, hey, come on my show.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, brother. We'll have to do this again next Wednesday.
Yeah, sure.
Just don't fall asleep before you come on
Listen,
the show.
I laid down at 3:30.
Dude, I literally just called you.
Well, you woke me up the first time too.
It wasn't
yeah, we're good. And I fell back asleep.
Yeah, we're good.
The issue is I went to a Chinese buffet and ate about 5,000 calories and then came home and laid down, and that was all she wrote.
It's sleepy time for Centauri. He needs to go take night.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Going back when I get off.
Appreciate you, brother. Your day. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Centauri is awesome. Go follow him on Twitter. Like I said, he's a great follow on Twitter. He's a great follow on their show. Make sure you check that out. And yeah. All right, let's get the Facebook groups that let me live stream. And as always, I appreciate every single one of them. They're Houday Nation, Houday Legion, Bearcat Ruckus, Radical Reds, the Ohio State Bucknuts, the Ice Bar. And then you can follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Twitter handle is at Jeff A. Trinipole. TikTok is at Iceman90. Like you said, I'll pull the sound off a podcast. I'm trying to. StreamYard, I got too much stuff on there right now. I keep deleting stuff, so I'm hoping to put it on the podcast later on tonight. If I do, it's on BeanPod, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher Play, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure you rate, like, and review. Leave a 5-star review. Leave a comment so more Cincinnati fans can find my podcast. YouTubers, we're steady right here. I'm not losing any. I'm just steady. 2,108 subscribers. Like I said, we lost an AFC Championship game. Before that, it was going like a rocket ship. Now it's kind of, at least it's steady. It's not dropping, so that's good. Let's keep it there. At least, tell your friends, say your neighbors, try to get it going again. Try to get the 3,000 as fast as I can. But for all of you that listen, watch, comment, even you, Ken. I love you, Ken. You just sometimes you go off with stuff. I've been hearing this stuff from everybody, and it's just like the offensive line is like, you guys are making my head hurt with this stuff you say sometimes. So I love you, though. I love all you guys. Thank you for watching, commenting, all that stuff. Like I said, if it weren't for you guys, I won't be able to do this. So I appreciate you. Anyway, I'll be back on tomorrow. Who do I got on tomorrow? I know I have. I've actually blown it up trying to get it. Oh yeah, I got Kieran and Willie Lutz. So we got the Rated R Superstar tomorrow, and we got Willie Lutz from the Same Old Stripes podcast on tomorrow. So make sure you guys check that out. We'll do some more draft talk. We'll do some more free agents. Ken, we can argue with you about the offensive line if you want. Other than that, I'll see you guys tomorrow at 5:30. Ready? And that's just sports, baby. See ya!
Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, day we ignite in Cincinnati, we gon' rise in the jungle, we unite in dripping orange and black and white. Day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Wake up the beast, every day is a feast. Time to bust it off the leash. In the jungle, dripping heat. Tiger strike the city streets. East side, stand up. West side, stand up. If you reppin', who that? Time to put your hands up. Bengals stripes, we in it. New day, new age, yeah, we get it. Cincinnati, jungle fitted. Who they in our house, we win it. Orange and black and white, we build it. Earn our stripes, you know we kill it. Bleed our colors, jungle dripping. Nasty, natty, yeah, we lit it. Lit the crowd, get the city loud. Yeah, we feasting now. Fit the bounce, make the city howl. Now we reaching out. Thunder through the tunnel, from the sideline to the huddle. Stripes we tatted on the jungle when we flex that who they muscle on them. Stripes, Cincinnati, we gon' rise in the jungle, we unite in dripping orange and black and white. Whole day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who got 'em, who rockin' on? Now who wanna